arm release. So if you've got wrist problems, pain into your hands and into your thumbs, if you've got pain in your elbows or in your shoulders, a lot of the time the overload is coming from your forearms, either from your extensors or your flexors, which are the muscles you have here and here. So really, really simple stretches you can do daily just to try and keep them loose. And if you think, like, we use our hands for so much, and not only that, one of the primary causes of shoulder and also forearm and wrist problems is dysfunction in your shoulder. So for example, this should be your carrying angle. This is where your body should be. But if you've got a bad posture, say, in your upper back, look what happens to my hands. I then have to turn them out more to be able to, say, carry shopping bags, to hold my child's hand, to pick anything up. Then think about the compensation of weakness in your shoulder. I then have to turn my hand out more to be able to interact with my environment. And this doesn't look like I'm massively out of position, but look what happens to my hands. Even if I just completely relax them, but change that shoulder position. This one, free moving, can turn. This one, that's as far as I can turn it out. So if you've got pain in your elbow, in your arm, in your forearm, in your wrist, in your hand, I can almost guarantee there's something wrong with your shoulder. It may not be the primary cause, but it's probably one of the main maintaining factors. I think stopping your body from healing itself. Your body is its own medicine chest. It is designed to fix itself. So if there's an ongoing problem that has taken more than a couple of weeks to heal, you need to get it looked at, because you're not looking after you, or you're missing one of the key components to your ability to heal. And that's someone like myself, an osteopath's job, to help you see that, to see the big picture. That's why I became an osteopath, because we look at your body as a whole, as how you're interacting with your environment. We're not just looking at, well, your shoulder hurts, so let's treat your shoulder. Oh, your wrist hurts, so let's treat your wrists. Okay? So, basic stretches. One hand, two hands. Start with your hands by your face. Gentle pressure between your hands. So they are engaged, there is pressure between my hands. You shouldn't be able to pull a piece of paper from between my hands, but there's loads of muscle in it. Just gentle pressure, okay? Gently slide your hands downwards, keeping them close to your body. It's really important that your shoulders stay down and your elbows stay relaxed. Don't let them lift, because you're going to want to. Slide them down as low as you can, keeping strong pressure between the fingers, because they're going to want to splay. Don't let your palms come apart. Gently hold the stretch. Turn the palms over and lift up. Shoulders down. Pull the palms all the way up towards your sternum and your throat. So there's pressure between my hands. This is only a gentle stretch. This isn't going to be absolute killer. Oh my God, that really hurts. But you can put a little bit more pressure one side or the other if you want to. I like doing these as a warm-up to deeper stretching, because it mobilizes the wrist. Same thing the other way. Press the palms, strong pressure. Try not to allow separation. And down. Try and keep them together. Keep those shoulders down and release. Arm in front. Gentle pressure. I prefer hand to fingers, because fingers A, bend, and B, you're more likely to irritate the joints. So I'm just pulling my wrist. I'm feeling a gentle stretch through here. And I just feel to the point of engagement. Keep the shoulder relaxed. My elbow is soft. I'm not locking, because I don't want to put extra pressure on my elbow. Pull forward. Again, try and use the actual MCPJ, so the metacarpal joint, rather than the phalanges, the fingers. Gently pull. You can go over the top if you're very mobile to get a little bit more engagement. I'm hypermobile, so you see my fingers bend. If I don't get that longer traction through my fingers, I don't get a very strong stretch. But listen to your hand. There's no point in irritating your fingers if you're just trying to get a forearm stretch. Okay? Obviously, make sure you do both sides. Make sure you do them both ways. So turn the palm over, pull it down. Okay. Thumbs. Gentle pull towards the wrist. I tend to use my finger. Gentle pull towards your wrist. Gentle stretch of your fingertips. So literally just gently pulling the fingertips back. Gentle distraction of the fingertips. If the actual bones of your hands are tight and compressed, then you are going to get muscular tension in your hands, and everything's going to contract. Your thenar and hypothenar eminences will contract. So look what happens to my wrist. You can just see from the contraction in my arm, if I contract my hand, I over-engage. From there, you see my arm moving? And that's just from me contracting my hand. You're tensing through the chain. Forearm release. Find the bone, so your radius. I slide my fingers with quite a firm pressure until I just take up the tension or the slack between the muscle belly here, and the bone. So you actually see it slides and moves. I can feel that even before I move my hand. There is a firm pressure there, but it's not painful. And then two ways of releasing are either to roll your wrist, you can see the muscles in my forearms working, or roll your fingers. I prefer rolling my fingers. And what it does, it slides the muscle belly underneath the pressure. I'm creating a fulcrum, a resistance point, with my fingers. It's stretching the muscle away from where it wants to be, and the muscle's sliding underneath it, a bit like when you have a deep tissue massage. Work your way all the way down that muscle, all the way down into the wrist. You can circle, you can wiggle, or you can open and close your wrist. Probably realistically, it's best for you to mix them. Okay? When you come to your wrist, I put pressure on the radius. I push against the ulnar on the other side. So I'm pushing with my thumb. For you, I would suggest push with your palm because my hands are used to this, but it's a lot of pressure if your hands aren't used to massage. And then you just roll the wrist or open and close to get the bones to move against your resistance. So what you're doing is you're opening the space between the two bones, your distal radial ulnar joint, which is here. And there's a membrane called your interosseous membrane that goes in between. If you've got tension through here from this big rotational pattern we were talking about earlier, the fascial tension here in through that membrane, the compression of that can be half of the reason you're in pain and that your normal stretching isn't working. So make sure that you're doing movement through your joints, not just releasing your muscles. Okay? And I work all the way up doing the same thing, restricting the movement. Trigger point release. There's a strong trigger point here. Again, I suggest if you don't have strong hands and conditioned hands from this, maybe use a golf ball so you can press the golf ball in and press it into this point. You'll know when you're in the right place because it will hurt and your arm will go a little bit dead, but do not put too much pressure on. This isn't the point of causing yourself as much pain as possible. A little sensation of discomfort is enough, little and often. And again, roll the wrist or open and close, depending on which works for you, and just work down that tract all the way down. Okay? A really nice release for the back of the arm, because if your tricep is tight, it's going to put pulling backwards. You're going to pull against it, but without the amount of release, you're getting tension through your elbow and through your forearm. Release your triceps. Obviously, the most common stretch is here. But what you can do is get your foam roller or your physio ball onto the back of the arm, place it onto the desk, and open and close against your resistance. So the ball is where my fist is. I will do this as a separate video and just open and close and feel it drop in. You can do it on a foam roller, but I feel like a hockey ball or a cross ball is more effective. Okay? So I discussed with you before the trigger point release for your triceps. So you can I use the cross ball or a baseball. I prefer the baseball because it's got a little bit more resistance to it because of the leather, it grips a bit better. But I left mine at home. So the cross ball. You can start with a tennis ball if you want to use kid gloves and ease into it, but you're trying to do deep trigger point release. The same as a deep tissue massage, it's only really effective if it's getting the point of bind, getting the engagement. So, ball, tricep, find the bite point. By all means, brace with the other hand, but this is why I like the baseball because it doesn't slide as much. And then you just open the arm. There's quite a lot of pressure through the ball. And contract the arm. Adjust it around it. If you're in the right place, this is unpleasant. You have to think about relaxing into this. If you're not finding any pain when you're doing this, it's either in the wrong place or your tricep tension isn't your issue. Okay? Just open and close. The more tension you put through the anterior chain, the biceps, the more contraction you get, the more roll in of the hand you get, the tighter the engagement, the more opening and extension, so almost trying to get your arm to hyperextend, unless you're too mobile, don't risk your joint. the more pressure you put through your tricep. And if you can see, I've slightly worked my way up into the belly of my tricep now. I'm just working it all the way up. And the ball started here, settled right into that muscle. And I'm running on the groove up between my triceps as I go through. I'm going to come all the way up into my shoulder, pressure through the shoulder, still opening and closing, and just adjusting where the pressure is by adjusting my body to get the back of the arm. You can lift up and extend down as well. The trouble with a lacrosse ball is it rolls, so please excuse my hand in the way. So pressure through the ball, extend back down. I would argue that if you're trying to do a tricep release, you should also be doing the back of the shoulder. So you can get the hat, get the ball right into the back of the shoulder, on the outside of the shoulder blade. Put pressure through it. I would always do this on the floor. This is on a separate video. Into the back of the deltoid. So this is your rear deltoid. If you draw a straight line down your arm, anterior, middle, posterior deltoid, get it into the back of the arm and press through it. You can do it against a desk and just open your arm out, rock over, rock in, or open and close your arm. But I personally find doing it on the floor is so much more effective. Have a look at physio ball release for the shoulder, which will be up later on this weekend. Have fun. Trigger release for your forearm. So I'm going to use a lacrosse ball. You can use the tennis ball. For these smaller muscles, you can use a golf ball. I personally feel like this is the right sort of tension and pressure. I prefer something a bit more texture, but right density. If you don't have conditioned hands to do the previously mentioned trigger release for the forearm, you can forearm release. If you draw your wrist back to put more tension through, you'll get better engagement through the forearm, and you can just work the pressure through the muscle. I mean, it's quite firm pressure I'm putting through the ball, but it'll be far less tension than just using your thumbs, because if you're not used to a lot of hands-on work, a lot of weight training, martial arts or massage work, your hands are going to get tired and sore very quickly, and it seems ridiculous to make your hands sore to improve your wrist and forearms, because you're creating a new problem to solve an old one, cutting off your nose to spite your face. So fairly firm pressure, roll through, and you know about it when you find the right point. I would say for me, I actually need something slightly smaller than this lacrosse ball for my forearm. It will do, but if you think about the size of the ball, the smaller it is, the more pinpoint the pressure is. So I've got a golf ball is going to be really deep pressure. A large ball is far more open, therefore more diffuse pressure. Less painful, but not always the right effect. So just continuing your forearm release. I needed a wall, hence the change in the video. So you've done your warm-ups, you've done your trigger point release. Mine was already feeling loose just from my day's massage. Hand up on the wall, gentle pressure, slide the hand down, feel the stretch. It works better, in my opinion, if you do two. So you've got both arms and you're pushing down into the wall. Think Karate Kid. We paint the fence. Okay? So, see through my wrist, I gently put pressure through. I slide the hand up, trying to keep the wrist on the wall, trying to keep my arm straight as possible. I personally feel like doing both at the same time is far more effective. Gently slide down, trying to keep the arm as straight as you can. And then as you get lower, if you can, lean up and over, so you're getting the stretch in your wrist, the same as when you did this, but using the wall. Okay? I would personally suggest that you do sideways as well. So get the pressure through the wrist. Let's do that one. Hand there. Take up the tension by straightening the arm, moving away, keeping the arm as straight as possible. And ideally, you're trying to bring this shoulder towards the wall. And basically, all I'm doing is pushing against the wall and bringing my body forward against it, and you should feel a strong stretch through the wrist. Remember, this is a three-dimensional structure, so it doesn't just have to be at one height. Change it, rotate slightly the angle till you feel the stretch in the right place for you, and always vary your stretching, because otherwise you're only get loose in one plane, and then you've got tension everywhere else. You're creating a new tension pattern, which is going to lead to injury. Okay? You can do the same thing with palm open. So you've got palm open and you step away from it, trying to keep the palm on the wrist. And I find this a really effective, deep forearm stretch. I would always warm it up first. Try not to lock the elbow if you can, but long, straight arm. And again, all I'm doing is pushing against the wall and then pulling myself away to feel the tension through the forearm. A really nice way of doing that previous forearm release is with a tea towel. So I haven't got a tea towel here, so I'm going to use a normal towel. Having your arm, obviously a tea towel will slide. So you can slide it in, put a little bit of weight through it, turn it over. You can't see my hand, but my hand is turned up. Slide it all the way down. Try and keep your weight over it. Try and keep the palm engaged on the wall. Turn over. Straight up.